We are live.
Do we know what episode it is?
Like 104, I think.
We are back, though. It's our first episode of the season. Welcome back, guys, to Cutler Cast. Busy Monday after we just came back from California.
What'd you do today?
Monday's always conference calls in the morning. I mean, I get up and I want to talk about my training, of course, because that's the most important thing. So I get up and do my fasted in the morning. Fasted cardio. I'm kind of back on that again. I'm kind of in the groove. I was feeling kind of burnout after Fit for 50. I talked about that, but for me, it's just about meditation. You know, people. I was running into someone yesterday in the gym, and they were asking me, "Do you meditate?" And I think about meditation. I'm not really sure what that necessarily is. People have their different ways that they meditate, and you know, I would talk about going to these expos, and I was at this Fit Expo this past weekend, and the lineup was just crazy, right? And the communication and, you know, interacting with people and really paying attention. It's very important for me because I heard so many great stories. And like I said, you never imagine you touch that many people's lives because you're selfishly doing something for yourself, right? Trying to build a career and, you know, push my body to the extreme. And I sit and listen to this, and the people line up time and time again. And there's so many new faces this year, by the way. But, and, you know, I after the event, I'm like, I just need to wind down.
Yeah.
I mean, even we talked about all going to eat on Saturday night, and it was like by the time everyone got done with the expo, they were just spent, right? You went to bed at 9.
I was done. I got to my room at 7:30. I didn't leave.
And it was like, I used to come home from the weekend appearances, and I used to guest pose every year, as you know, when I was in the off season, and I was booked out and I travel. And yes, the traveling's tiresome, and obviously the events are lengthy. But I used to sit in my theater in the kind of like in silence, you know, because it was like very dark, you know, just private place. So when I think of meditation, I always think about people closing their eyes and being in a total zone where there's no noise, there's just nothing to interfere with your thought process, right? But for me, I found the meditation for me to get on the step mill in the morning. And I do the steps for 20 minutes. I've been doing 10 bike. But when I get on those stairs, obviously the effort forward, that morning cardio is my peace. It's my reset. It's my, what I call my meditation. So I don't sit, you know, I don't do ice baths. I don't do, not to say, I have actually an ice bath getting delivered now. Not to say that I'll use it. I'm going to probably
you need
try it a couple
You need
times.
to film yourself the first time.
I probably do. But I know Angie will use it. But anyway, so it's like one of those things where I just need that peace. And like, I don't know if there's a time span, and maybe some of our viewers or listeners can actually chime in here and say, this is how lengthy my meditation process is. Because I know we have a lot of people that meditate. Do you meditate?
I don't even know how.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean.
I wouldn't know how.
So everyone has their different theories, right? Yeah. I think for me, I say I get up in the morning, I meditate. So that fasted cardio, like I'll get into, so I get up and I drink 2 glasses of water. I can't handle text messages. I get actually on emails and I'll like see what's really important or what's, you know, pending. And then I'll get on that cardio. And that's when I really kind of just reset. Not to think that I don't think about my day a little bit, but I just kind of use that moment of peace. And I try not to, obviously I can't talk on the phone because I'm in my garage and I have no service because you've called me a couple of times. So that's what, you know, that's usually the time. So I always try to tell everyone to kind of start off their day on the right foot. And I mean, for you, I mean, you've been going to the gym, even though you have cardio at your house. And why do you think you like to get out of your house? You know, you work out of your house, right?
Yep.
But why do you choose? Because I know you're going to leave during the day and weight train or go run errands or whatever else, but why do you choose not to do it in your garage versus going to the gym?
There's times I do. I mean, I have a treadmill and a bike in my garage, but I think it's more just it forces me to get going. It forces me. You know, if you go downstairs and do cardio, you might do it you might slap on whatever shoes, and you might just be in your, you know, your briefs or whatever else. And it's not the same. But when you force yourself to get dressed, and you get in the car, you drive there, you walk in and you start walking, it forces you to get the day going, to where if it's at home, you can slack a little bit, you know, you can. And it makes you get ready for the day.
Do you get complacent in anything that you do? I mean, I talked about this on a
we all do.
jaywalking, and I said, I think because of our lives, because of the travel and every day kind of being different, in a sense, I think it's hard to get complacent in what you do. You're always challenged,
There's
right?
because every day is something different. Every day, like even today. I mean, we got home late last night. I have today, and tomorrow I have to go to the airport at 6 a.m. And I have to think about what do I have to get done today?
What time is your flight?
8 o'clock.
Okay.
So I'll leave at 6, get there at 6:30 or whatever. But I have to, I figure out what I have to do today and what can I do while I'm traveling? What do I have to do when I come home? So today it was like, we got to film one of these and there's certain errands I have to run today because I'm not going to get back till Saturday. So I know I don't think you can ever get, I mean, maybe some people get complacent, but every day it's something different.
I think people get complacent because of fear.
Could be.
Because they get used to a routine. They don't like to step out of comfort zones. I talk about this, if I didn't move to California and I stayed in Massachusetts, if you didn't move from Wisconsin, come to Vegas, like maybe your business wouldn't be what it is, right? So
probably not.
I think a lot of people, the complacency becomes a fear of change.
A lot of people don't like change,
and that's,
even if it can make their life better.
And we talk about this because it's New Year's, right? This is a new year. Okay, we're in 2024, which I can't believe year after year I say these dates, and it's like, we used to watch these. Remember when you used to watch the films, and it was like year 2020,
Back to the Future,
and they were like, and cars are flying. Yes, you know what I mean.
Or when you think about Prince, like it's 1999, like. Wow, that was 25 years ago.
Dude, it's so fast. It's so fast because I thought by now you're exactly right. I mean, we'd be living on Mars and shit,
Oh, if someone would have said that, you're 2020, man, you're going to
I actually think the Terminator, and someone might be able to it said like, I don't know what year it was, 2026, I thought.
26 or 36 or
okay.
something. When the
okay.
machines were killing everybody, the way it's going, you never know. Might be a self-fulfilling prophecy.
So, it's one of those things where it's the new year and people want to step and like they want to pursue new things, right? And we have our bucket list. And at 50, I said, man, I'm going to conquer more in the next 10 years than I did in the first 50, right? So it's like you have that high priority, but the question is what's going to make you take that step forward? What's going to be different? We're starting off the year like, okay, Fit Expo we just did. We just went through Christmas and New Year's. You traveled, which you never done like that over extensively. So now it's like you celebrated in a foreign place from what you're used to. Yeah. And like, what do you set your goals at? Some people don't have to set those goals forward. For me, I don't have particularly things I choose. This is what I'm going to do. I write stuff down, but I have like a short and long term like goal list. And obviously this year is just expansion, get out there more. I think for both of us, it's just about making more relationships and continuing. I mean, even simple things like, let's do more podcasts, right? Let's try to, we were on track. Really, I feel like 23 was pretty solid.
Yeah, we did good. I mean,
we do at least
one
a week,
it is,
right?
For as much as we travel, a lot of people would probably have a hard time with it. But for as much as we travel, we always found a way to get one in. Or if we knew we were going to be gone, we would film a couple in advance. Like over Christmas, I went to South Africa, and I knew we had to get a couple done. So we did a couple in advance. We had a seminar. We had Ashley K, which, sorry, the audio got messed up for all the people that were so upset.
You probably put it on there, didn't you?
No, it just, you know what it is? So many people think we have this podcast, and they think like we have some big production company. It's some engineer or some professional team. They don't realize it's just two dudes and a laptop. That's it. And at times, even though we have all the software, at times, sometimes things fail, and we can only do what we can. Like with Ashley's, what ended up happening was as we were listening to this podcast, we could hear everything fine. It was recording fine. Everything was going fine. But for some reason, it didn't register. So only the microphone on the laptop picked it up. And now I have to like triple check it beforehand. So for the people that were upset, I'm sorry, but we don't have like this massive production crew that's doing this. It's just you and I.
I told you that story about the podcast. a big popular podcast started. I was one of the first episodes, and literally did a 2-hour interview.
Yeah.
And then he called me next day. He's like, you're going to kill me. It didn't record.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well, we'll do it again. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah.
I was on the phone with someone else today, and I was discussing that, and they were like, dude, you know how many times we have to redo stuff because something failed? It happens. I mean, unless you're someone like a Joe Rogan where you have a production crew and you have 3-stage backup to where there's this recording, that recording, this. If something, I guarantee you stuff fails even during their podcast, but they have it backed up 2 or 3 different ways where it's just you and I.
Did we already check this one, by the way?
Yes, I already. I triple checked this one. If it doesn't work, too bad.
They just put subtitles on it, you know.
So, what do you have anything this year that you're saying I want to do? Like usually for me, like my list of things is always different than the average person. I always tell myself I want to go to 3 to 5 new countries.
Listen, I think,
and I did 4 this last year.
For me, it's the experience a little more. Like maybe take a couple trips. I feel like because of the slowdown with the world the last 3 years ago, it sidelined me from the I didn't really want to venture out and do a lot because I felt like some places were still restricted in a sense or recovering from it, and the travel was a little tougher. But I feel like now, like this is the year where I'm going to take the trip to Puerto Rico. I'm going to try to, like I said, I'm going back to see my family. I'm going to Boston, even though I want to go to places that are warm, honestly. I always said I want to go where, snow skiing or whatever else, but that's really not on my list to do, but I want to take a trip to Puerto Rico. It's more just travel things. And you just said traveling internationally, not necessarily my thing, but I definitely want to do more things outside of business.
Yeah.
Not to say I don't want to continue to thrive on business and, do different events and whatnot. I mean, we're already booked out as it is. I mean, I have more than ever this year.
It's nutty.
So already I don't want to sit there and say I want to do more business on the sense of the travel and expos and meet and greets. And
I counted just things that I'll have to go to this year, and there's 13 international trips so far, and more will get added.
Yeah, and
some of them are, I go to Italy tomorrow and come back, and next month we'll probably have Korea and Qatar, and March we got the Arnold UK, we got Guy Cisternino's gym. April we got Germany. And I'm sure we'll do a couple other appearances while we're there. And I still got another trip to Africa, at least 1, if not 2, before the year's out. I know we'll end up going back to Scandinavia. I know we have at least 2 offers for the Middle East. There's a lot. But it's good though. You get to I know a lot of people out there probably love material possessions and love having this toy or that gadget or this car, and I've just always been, I just want to see the world. I want to go try food in different countries, and I don't want to see something if I see something on YouTube that I really love, I'm like, oh, I want to go see it in person.
It's all on TikTok now, You can see more on TikTok, You
can?
Yeah, it's actually, do you have a TikTok account?
I think so.
You need to actually, because a lot of people now they're seeing a lot of those, they're seeing a lot of things that are highlighted on TikTok.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny when we travel now, and she's like, we need to try this place. I'm like, where did you find this? She's
TikTok.
Like, TikTok. And I'm like, really? I'm on TikTok, and I don't see these. But I guess I don't flip as much.
Yeah.
Which I'm thankful for, by the way. I try not to flick through too much Instagram because it does take, how much time does it take? A lot, People, time consumption is one of those things. Time management is what I wanted to get a better grasp of, right?
Yeah.
Just be more productive. But I want to be productive with my physique too. I mean, I'm not going to steer away from that. I did the whole Fit for 50. I plan to do something in this year also where I feel like every year I want to challenge myself to become better because age, of course, creeps up on us. I'm still feeling strong with that, but we have a lot of great things happening business-wise, a lot of new product launches.
Eddie, what do you have coming out here?
I have a liquid L-carnitine coming now.
I need that.
Another berberine. We're expanding the essentials line, which is all the commodity products, and working on I'm working on some drinks and stuff like that too. I want to do something different. I had this other pre-workout I was working on too with the kind of an image usage and stuff. It's pretty cool. So, looking forward to just getting that out there and just continuing to do that.
Where else? Is there any other places you want to travel to that like non-business?
I'd like to go to Hawaii, actually.
You know, Dane and Rob messaged me today. They're in Hawaii, and I said to them, you know that's the last place in North America I've not been. I've been to every state except
I used
Hawaii.
to go every year. Yeah.
I've been to pretty much every major city in Mexico and Canada except Winnipeg. It's the last one. And I haven't been to Hawaii. But I've flown over it 9 times, but I've never landed there.
I have a lot of business opportunity there, actually, for
So does Trifecta.
fitness.
We just bought a bunch of, like some farm or something. We bought out like all this, some certain type of meat there that's like really rare and organic and whatever. We just bought everything. So they were telling me about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of places. I mean,
But I'm going to Hawaii.
I'm picking the mild weather places. If you notice that,
Why don't you go somewhere fun?
Only thing I'm going to now in the cold is first the event coming up on the 3rd for the
Steve Weinberger's.
It's
How
our,
many years
our
have we been doing
workshop. Well, I started it. You know, I
How
started doing a meet and greets. 2012, 13 maybe.
But now it's this massive event.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest.
You know, the
ones we
last
do.
2 years I've gone there was like a massive cold storm came
Yeah,
through.
yeah, snowstorm. I just said to him the other day, we just were on the phone, and I'm like, hopefully the weather holds up, you know. And he's like, oh, it's really cold now, but I said, just hopefully the snow holds out because we're having terrible weather in Vegas now.
On a different tip, how was your Christmas?
Christmas was good. Christmas was chill. I didn't travel. Angie traveled, but I actually didn't travel this year, so it was very, very low key. I used to spend a lot of times, like I said, I've spent time in Hawaii for Christmas one year. But now with the family being on the East Coast, you know, her family being on the East Coast, I didn't want to travel during that time just because, you know, we had an extensive trip. We just came back from Sweden, and it was like I just wanted to kind of unwind and kind of plan as I launched into the new year. You know, we finished all our Black Friday stuff, and the preparation to start the new year and really kick everything off. I mean, for me, the advantage is, you know, being a business owner, it's like I can celebrate certain portions of the year at different times, not when it's always celebrated by everyone. And, you know, business was shut down, so it was a lot more relaxing for me, which made it a lot easier to enjoy myself and just, you know, hit the gym and just sit in peace and not be caught up too much.
Flights of this last year, I don't think I remember a year where more flight delays happened. And during the winter months, flying to somewhere that's cold weather, it's such a risk, you know. And before, I used to always go, oh, let me find the 40-minute layover or the 50-minute layover. Now it's like I look for the 2 to 3 hour layover because almost every flight that takes off is an hour to hour and a half late. And if you don't catch that next one, you're screwed. So I could see why, if I was staying here, if I was traveling to a cold climate place, you're like, man, am I going to get stranded in an airport? Am I going to get this? So sometimes you're just like, it's better off just
I mean, like listen, I have a lot of great memories. You know, growing up, our families used to get together and, you know, we'd kind of celebrate. But it's like as my brothers and sisters had children and the children get older and now they have children themselves, it's really hard to get everyone to migrate to one spot. And I have a lot of great memories of how we would all plan to get together. And it was like, at the time, the boyfriends and the girlfriends, or, you know, the ones that were married, you know, pretty young, you know, they would be there. And obviously we had such a large family. We used to, you know, do these grab the names, and we'd pick a name to buy for because obviously it was a lot, you know. And we had like a $20 budget, which we'd buy gifts for, and we'd do these exchanges that way. But now everyone's kind of so spread out, it's just really hard to get everyone in one place when I show up there for a limited time, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it's nice when I go back a few times a year. I'm fortunate enough now to have, you know, all of our contests, you know, on the East Coast, and then we have our trips that I can piggyback and go over that way. Yeah. Makes it a little easier.
I'm the same way. Half my family's in one part of the country, half is another part. Neither one of them are near airports, so it's just difficult where you take 1 or 2 layovers to get somewhere, then you have to rent a car, and you got to drive 3 hours, and then it's just snowing, and you're just like, I'll see. Can I come in June?
It's kind of funny because I have a lot of people that ask me, like, where is the ideal place to live? And lately, I mean, we look at all these different. We meet so many people from different regions, and you still have your, you know, between, you know, property values. You know, cost of living, You know,
Those are
the
things you gotta pay attention to.
The
Yeah.
efficiency on where, you know, what is the ideal for people. Some people like the season change. My mom would never migrate to Vegas. My dad lived out here for a short time because he hated the cold weather. I mean, he was a highway superintendent. He was running plows every winter. But I feel like now the East Coast, you know, especially talking to like Chris when he's in Maine and my brothers and sisters, the snow is very limited there now.
Is. It, you know, the last year that I was in the Midwest full time, I want to say the last 3 years I was there, it didn't snow until January. Where when I was growing up, it was snowing in October. Mm-hmm. By Christmas, you already had 2 or 3 feet outside.
Didn't you
now
always feel like as a kid there was like always blizzard, snow was school was canceled?
That was the whole thing with Christmas. It was like, oh yeah, we're gonna go outside and throw snowballs at cars when you're a little kid.
Yeah.
But now it's like there's no snow there. And you'll get 1 or 2 cold fronts a year, but I was on the phone with my mom the other day, and it's still not. Still didn't snow there.
It was in Christmas. It was colder in Las Vegas than it was in the East Coast.
It's not a, you know, I saw this coming a long time ago. Like same thing when I lived in. So I grew up in Florida and Wisconsin. When I was a kid, Florida used to be 95 in December. It'd still be hot. Now it's not. It gets down to the 30s and 40s. It's like it's almost like the cold kind of just seeped further down, but it's not as cold as it once was.
Is it global warming or?
I have no idea. I'm not qualified to figure that out. But it's you know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look and go. When I fly home, it's not. There's not 12-foot snowbanks like there once was when I was a kid. In February, you go there. There used to be snow piled up. There's constant plows running now. You go there, you'll see pictures in January and February, and there's 1 or 2 inches on the ground, if that at all. It just doesn't seem like it's as cold as it once was. I never minded the seasons because I don't like climate does not bother me at all. I don't care if it's 20 below zero or 110. I don't care. You just get on with your day. Okay, you got to put a jacket on, or you got to warm your car. You got to warm your car up, or here you got to cool your car down because it's too hot. Like you just go on with your day.
Don't you feel like people have when you tell them you live in Vegas or on the West Coast, if they're from the East Coast, they kind of want to migrate there or vice versa?
Well, everyone thinks here it's a desert, so they think it's you know bikinis and hot out, but they don't realize it snows here. It just doesn't stick. I mean, you'll see it come down from time to time. If we go outside right now and look up in the mountains, there's snow all over, but it doesn't. I don't know. I've turned my heater on a couple times in the last 3 years. I don't mind it being 50 in my house, but it's not not hot here year round. I mean, obviously it gets hot in the summer. Another thing I noticed too, this year it did get in the hundreds till July, where normally it is beforehand. Mm-hmm. And by September, it was already in the 60s at night, where I wasn't running the AC at night, where like my electric bills are way down. Where before, it would be
they charge like 90. Double for electric bills now.
It'd be like 90 degrees in October. Remember when the Olympia would be in September and October, and the pool parties would be going crazy and be hot? It's not hot at night, so I don't know. Something's obvious. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I'm not going to argue with people. Something's definitely different, and you can see it.
So I have an East Coast trip coming up. Before we head to Ohio for the Arnold Classic. You've seen there's been quite a shift in the Arnold as far as competitor-wise.
Let's see what
Andrew. So Andrew, he's out.
Pulled out. And then
Nexzilla's out.
Is he? I didn't know that. He's out, and I don't know who else is. So who's the front runners going to be? Well, I was assuming they were Hottie and Samson regardless. And Hottie's obviously is the front runner. And I know Samson won last year, but Samson's never beat Hottie, and Hottie's a Mr. Olympia. So he's going to be the front runner. It doesn't mean he's going to win, but he's going to be the front runner.
We got to see Derek this past weekend.
Yeah.
I saw you just posted a picture with him.
Yeah, actually. Derek, at times, he might not like our opinions, but we just have opinions like anyone else. And I said something to him. And it's something that a lot of people say this, but they never say it publicly. And when I put a post up, what I said in there is accurate. Derek won the 212 Olympia title 2 years ago. And he told me after I won it, I still didn't call myself Mr. Olympia because I was not Mr. Olympia. I just won my division at the Olympia. So he took that year, he took that next year. He competed, got second, and he came back and he won the Mr. Olympia title. So he now is Mr. Olympia. He's one of 18 men to earn it, and he deserves that respect because he went from a different division and went and wanted to be called Mr. Olympia, and he earned it. And I know there's a lot of other people that win their division. They think they automatically are granted that title, but they're not. And when you do call yourself Mr. Olympia, if you're not Mr. Olympia, you're disrespecting every other person in the industry who earned that title, from Arnold to you to Ronnie to everybody who was in the trenches for all those years. So Derek has tipped my hat to him. He went and earned it. And if you don't like that, if you're upset at that, then just go beat him. If it's not that big of a deal, just go beat him. Because I'm sure
he was super motivated. I asked him, after having a baby girl recently, what his motivation is, and obviously it's another mouth to feed, and just that extra motivation of winning the title. I can tell you, the mindset does shift. I mean, when you win that title, it builds your confidence a little further. I think there was still that question mark where he can be second, knock on the door, and you saw him, get second at the first time at the 212, right? Yeah. He finished second also, right?
No, his first, I think he got fifth.
Okay,
but he was right there.
I thought he fell back after.
Maybe he did get second.
I thought he did, and then he fell back.
He might have. I could be wrong.
He came back, and he came and won it. But that extra motivation, that mindset. But he seemed to already have that, and I think that's one thing about Hani as a coach. And Hani was there also. We didn't see Hadi obviously. Yeah. But it was great to see Derek, and he's looking in tremendous shape. We did a quad stomp, and I posted the new king of the quad stomp. I had a lot of people hit me up and like, dude, it doesn't compare to yours. It doesn't compare to yours. And I said, well, you got to give the guy credit. And one thing I can say is, I came on here, last year at a certain point when he chose not to do the Arnold after getting second, and I said, it's a great opportunity for him. Yeah. But I think that Nick had the strong possibility of beating him. Yeah. But like the what ifs, should haves, beens, whatever else. Yeah. Like the truth is you can't take anything. Like Derek stood his ground. Yep. Came to Olympia, won it. Mm-hmm. Now, yes, there might be people that think he should or shouldn't have. I can tell you it was close enough where, and I told him this. I said it was close, but you won. And that's all that matters is that trophy sitting in his trophy room. And I said, you're going to have to match now children to standout trophies.
But here's a question: could he? Because that's a lot of money. Could he go win the Arnold UK and the Olympia?
I think he would.
That's $1 million.
I think he would, but
is it worth
I wouldn't advise it.
Okay.
I now that he's won. You have to give him credit for that, because I chose a path where I was competing, winning the Arnold, getting second. Finally, the year I stepped away, remember I decided not to do it in 05. I think Dexter won Arnold. I stepped away, and then I, had one more second, and then, of course, I won the Olympia the next year. Mm-hmm. So I feel like giving myself that full year of preparation was necessary, right? And the problem is you see the schedule's kind of shortened up a little bit this year.
14 qualifying shows this year.
Okay. And listen, there's a lot after that for the next season.
Next season will be longer, depending on when the Olympia is.
Okay. Yeah. Because we're in October 12th, I think.
Yeah, because the Olympia this last year, there wasn't that many after, and now it's in October.
But I'll tell you, Matt, it goes by so fast. Of course. Especially with Derek now doing the business of Mr. Olympia, not just bodybuilding, Mr. Olympia. So the representation's happening. I mean, he mentioned all these trips he's going on. We'll see him in Germany. I mean, it'll be Arnold. He'll do the Mannion. By the time you get at the Mannion show, dude, you're in your prep. Yeah. I mean, that's when it's all starting. You're really starting to buckle down. Like after May,
it's in October.
After May, you're turning, the off season down.
But even though you didn't, if you could have won $300,000 and between the two won another $150 a week later, would you have done it at that type of? That's life change. That's a house in most of
it is, but I didn't have that opportunity. So you're asking me something that I wasn't in that realm.
Yeah.
I was winning, 100 in a Hummer, and that was a lot to me, right? That was basically, I look at it as like a couple 100,000, right? So everyone's mindset's different. Each man is his own thinking self. Just like Samson may have a different plans. I mean, we don't know it. That's what makes it intriguing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know what everyone's plans are moving forward, but I can tell you, we have to support decisions on how many, just because you may think, oh, the money. I never thought about the money, right? Until the money was apparent, right? And then it became
Until it was big.
Yeah, until it was big, but he's probably doing very well in a sense. And listen, he's 20, is he 29 or 30?
29 or 30.
Yeah, so I mean, he's younger than all of us. I mean, I think Phil was, 30 when he ran his first one?
He could get out at a young age and stay completely healthy.
But he could also win many.
That's true.
I mean, he could go on a run here. I know there's a lot of critics that think, well, he can't run with it. But, dude.
Who are we to say?
He's coming off. I talked about this last year. Is like the first year he got second in the Open. He only had limited time to let his body grow. Then he came back. He was much improved, right? And he won it.
Yeah.
Now, what are we going to see in 24 when he gives a full year of preparation? He's training in the condition he's in right now.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'll make that early prediction. I mean, I predict him to win another one.
Yeah.
I mean, because I know that rhythm. It's that mindset, that drive, that determination, the family thing. It's just he's very motivated to do it, and you can just see it. You can sense it. He's a great representative, but I want to see Hadi come angry. I want to see Samson come and prove the doubters wrong. Okay,
Derek could easily win many, but it's not going to be easy. Because there's guys right there.
It's never easy. It's variables and training. You just don't. You have so many things that are thrown at you, right? Yeah. And that's the main thing. Is we talk about like his ability and his mindset, like the physique, but the mind is the most important thing. And if you notice, all I'm talking about is like what is going to drive him, because we know he has the body.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he got second in his first Open.
Yeah.
Mr. Olympia competition. Like he went right to the Olympia.
Yeah.
And do people discredit him for that?
Yeah.
I mean, he never qualified, did he?
No.
He
got a special invite.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, of course, they're trying to put this special invitation for Nick, because he was injured leading into 23.
What do you think of special invites?
I think like we talked about Cedric getting one, and Rami when he had when he got the virus or whatever else. I don't know. I mean, I think it really comes down to, I think Nick's making tremendous progress by the looks of it right now. And
he looks crazy.
I wouldn't be opposed to him getting a special invitation this year. I know you think he should compete.
I've always felt this way. I always looked at special invites, like when Flex came back or Kevin came back. It's like, hey, this was a legend. We're just gonna let him go up there because they've earned it. I think if someone's healthy and they can compete, they should do the same thing all the other guys did. That's just my opinion.
But listen, I could still compete. And the question is,
should
I be allowed to compete? If I'm 55.
You're qualified for life.
I understand, but like when you draw the line, Matt, shouldn't there be a shelf to that?
I mean, they could say if you haven't competed in 3 years, you can't come back. Because what if Arnold wants to get? What if Samir wants to jump up there?
I mean, like, what do you say? Is anyone crazy enough to do it at over 45?
I bet you if you throw Ronnie some money, he would try.
Yeah. He
used
called
to
me
guest
out
pose
for a while. Yeah, he called me out for a while.
He'll take you out too. He's shredded. We just saw him. Ronnie was sitting next to us. He's still shredded,
dude,
man.
He's still killing it, right?
Yes. Every time I reach out to somebody to do an expo appearance and they give me some bullshit reason why they can't, I'm just thinking, Ronnie Coleman's in a wheelchair and he's there for 12 hours. He's still just cashing it, just making so much money. These guys are like, no, I don't want to do it. I'm like, all right, well, Ronnie's going to keep making that money. He's making the money you could be making.
Did you get to talk to him? Or
a little bit.
I didn't get to see him. I was kind of disappointed. I mean, we'll be doing our meet and greets at the Arnold, by the way, guys. So we'll be doing at the UK and at the
both
Columbus one.
I said to him, I said, man, we got to have you in the podcast. He's like, just let me know when. I'm thinking, well, okay, we'll figure it out. we'll get him on one of these times. I'd rather have him here, but if we have to do it on the road somewhere, we will. Does this thing keep going off? This is annoying.
You guys got to hold it because I think that shuts the ringer off.
Yeah. So, but no, we just got back from the Fit Expo, and that
I only did one day.
Yeah, you did one day. I mean, saw Ronnie was there, Derek, Hani, CT Fletcher, Larry Wheels.
I saw Mac Truck. You saw Bradley Martin.
Martin, Regan,
Boy in the crew.
Big
Joey
Boy.
Stacks. Who else was setting up?
Joey Swole.
Yeah.
Joey Swole was there. Guy Cisternino.
Yeah.
It was a good
was there.
Yep, Breon. Yep.
Chris Cormier I saw. We interviewed a little bit.
Tarek came through for Olympia TV. Sean Ray. There's Chef Rush.
Yeah.
It's a good expo. You know, I've always said this, as far as foot traffic, I'm not talking about popularity. The Arnold has the most foot traffic in the United States, and probably the Fit Expo is the second most foot traffic, and then probably the Olympia.
And you got to see LeBron play.
Yeah, I went to a Lakers game. It was funny because I was going back and forth with the bucked up crew, and they're like, "We think we're going to go to a game," and I was in my room, and I'm like, "Man, I don't want to go have to deal with scalpers."
So this was Friday, yeah. This was Friday.
Was it Friday? Yeah, Friday
night, yeah.
So he said, "Hey man, we found these like really good seats for $200, and they were like $500 or $600 normally." And I'm like, "All right, I'm on my way." He's like, "How far are you?" I'm like, "Well, about 100 yards," because our hotel was right across the street. So we went in there and got to see I'd never seen the Lakers play. You know,
That's surprising because, listen, we always talk about it. How many years have we been to Fit Expo that we talked about? And it was going on, but very rarely was it going. No, but very rarely was it going on like when we had an off day.
Yes.
Like, usually it's like Saturday night, oh, I'm tired. Sunday night, we were either exiting or we're tired, right? This was a Friday night, so we got there. So we drove out together on Thursday. Yeah. And you were looking up the tickets, and you're like, "Well, this seat is
there's a game.
Yeah, it's $600."
No, I was gonna If I would have bought that, I should have. I could have paid $1,400 for 2 front rows, not courtside, right the front row. And I'm like, man, nobody's gonna. Someone always gives you an excuse. And then I'd have been pissed because I'd have had an extra seat, so I didn't buy them. And then,
but it was questionable if LeBron was playing.
Well, so that was the other thing.
Truthfully, was that the only reason you wanted to say?
Look, I never got to see Jordan play because I didn't live somewhere where he was playing.
I watched the documentary the other night again.
It's great though.
Yeah, it is great. Yeah.
I never got to see him play. I've got to see Brett Favre play. I've got to see Aaron Rodgers play. I've gotten to see in the music industry. I've seen all the big names throughout the years, but I wish I could have saw Jordan play, and I didn't. And I'm going, regardless of whether you like LeBron or not, he's one of the best of all time. And I wanted to say I saw him play, just because I never got to see him.
Dude, you're starting off the year with a couple bucket list things,
Yeah.
You went to South Africa, Mozambique, right?
Yep.
And you saw
and I got to see
the Lakers play.
Because remember, the last time there was anything to do with the Lakers at a Fit Expo was when Kobe died.
Yeah.
We were there. And that was at the Fit Expo. It was that weekend.
Very
it was the
sad
Grammys
weekend,
and Kobe passed. So I just said, you know what? I'm on my way. So I walked across the street and I sat there with Jeff. He's one of the founders of Bucked Up. And we sat there. We watched the game.
So tell me, after all, now you got to see it.
Yeah.
Is it better in person or at home? Be honest.
I like seeing stuff at home because I want to see the replay. And you get if there's controversy, you're like, oh, I can see it. But from there, I mean, we were only about 10 rows up, and we had really good seats.
Good one experience.
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, you'll probably go again if it's convenient, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, if look, Vegas is going to get a team. They're going to in the next couple of years. I wouldn't be opposed to getting. The problem is we're gone so much. I would like to get like
it's a good business package.
Yes,
though.
of course. I wouldn't mind going more. I mean, me and Phil Heath went a couple times because he had season tickets for the Denver Nuggets.
I just saw he was at the Lions game the other day. Lions won yesterday, which
okay.
was really good game.
They won? I thought they had won in years.
They were on a run right now.
Are they?
Yeah, and Green Bay threw away their game, the other night.
So
I was so disappointed.
You know what
'cause
else?
It was so close.
If somebody was a true sports fan, this last weekend at the Fit Expo, they would have been in love because the first night we got there was a hockey game. The next night was the Lakers. The next night was a hockey game again. And the day we left, the Clippers played the Nets at 1:30, and then at 7:30 the Lakers played back-to-back NBA games in the same stadium. And I'm like, if you're a sports fan, you could have just watched sports the whole weekend. So that was good. You know, just little things like I never got to see him play in person. So now I know,
but that's a great start to your year.
Yeah. No,
So I'm not even going to ask. So obviously, this is a year maybe you fulfill some of your.
Yeah. No. I mean, the other things that
that
I'm planning on doing this year, I'm going to go back to Africa. I'm going to go to Zimbabwe, which I've never been. I'm going to go to Tanzania. But the other thing is, my uncle's going there around the same time. And he goes every year and goes and walks with the gorillas in Uganda. And I said, let's do it. So you just grab a backpack and you just go off and you just go walk with the gorillas. So that would be something that's something I've never done. I still want to get down to Peru, which I've never been to. I want to go see Machu Picchu.
You're going to drink the ayahuasca or?
Nah, that's you got to be ready for
Someone
that.
asked me about that this weekend, actually.
Yeah.
They were from Peru and we talked about it. And
I want to go see I would rather hike the whole Inca Trail. It takes like 3 days, and then go see Machu Picchu and go see the Rainbow Mountains and all that stuff. In the next year or two, I still want to get down to Antarctica because I've only known one person that's ever been there. So just little things like that. I like doing stuff that other people have done that I don't know a lot of people who have done. So yeah, I've scratched a couple off, and I'll still get. I'll still add 3 or 4 more countries to my list. My goal is to go to 100 countries, and I'm in the early 70s right now. I'd have to exactly count them out. But I got another 30 to go, and then I'll hit at least 100. But then at some point, I watch all these videos of these people that have been to every country in the world. And when you start watching your videos, you're like, man, I could do that.
talk about the guy that traveled how many miles?
Yeah, he's at 23 million miles now. So like in 1994 or something like that, he paid $500,000
United
for a
Airlines
lifetime.
Yeah.
You can fly unlimited. They never realized the guy was just going to fly like 3 times a week for the next 40 years. So I like think I'm at a lot, and I'm like, damn, I'm probably a little over 3 million in my life. This guy's at 23 million. So I'm like, that's like child's play. But there's a big difference too when you don't have to pay for it. You can just go, I'm just going to.
Do you have a first class? Did he have a first class seat or?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay.
But you got to think back then, they didn't think a guy would go that long, and $500,000 back then was a lot of money. But now it's turned into like a marketing thing for them. So I'm sure they're getting there. So he's traveling around the world like flying United.
Of course, yeah. United name comes up.
I'm like,
right?
well, dude, I'll do that too. Why don't you hook me up?
Yeah.
I'll go travel around the world. You know what? I flew on this airline called Air Link. It's Zimbabwe's. It's their airline, and we flew from South Africa to Maputo, Mozambique, and 3 days ago, I got an article forwarded to me that the same one, it was a bad storm and it landed and it skidded off the runway, the exact same airlines we were on. But I'm like, well.
It's like the door flying off the Alaska Airlines flight, and now them grounding all those flights.
Yeah. But no, it was good though. I had never been to Southern Africa, only Northern, and I got to go spend 3 weeks down there. I got to go to Maputo, Mozambique, and then we went to Ponta Douro, which is it's like right at the border of South Africa and Mozambique in the southeast corner. And the town we went and stayed at only had dirt roads. People just drove 4-wheelers, and it was just you'd go down to the market and you'd just get like fresh prawns and the crap. I mean, they're like
it's summer there now too.
Oh, the food was unbelievable. Like the tomahawk steaks and we went up in different areas, and I like drinking coffee everywhere I go, and I got some like really good African coffee, and so I'm looking forward. I'll go back at least once or twice this year. It just has to make the timing has to make sense because it's a long trip, man. From New York area to Johannesburg, it's 16 hours. It's no different. It's just like going to Australia from LA. So you're already 5 hours deep when you get there, and then that trip is just.
I get anxiety when I think about the flights.
We'll have a couple long.
That's one thing that I don't look forward to is if I could just snap my fingers and be there.
Yeah.
it would be a lot easier for
Well,
me.
why
because
don't
I
you
dread
why
it.
don't you start making more money, and then you can get us one of those old school planes that fly at like 2,000
Yeah, but
miles an hour.
it doesn't even still it's getting on a plane and going these places. I just hate
Yeah, but there's
it.
only
you
50
know?
people on it.
Yeah, I know, but it's just
It's
time.
it's years ago.
Talk about how much time that guy wasted in the air.
Oh God, I can't even. I think it was something like 3 years. I mean, mine's up there. When I look it up, like I have this app. This app I have on my phone only goes back for 8.5 years.
That's my biggest gripe about traveling.
Yeah.
Is that time in the air. And some people are like, oh, you can sleep or catch up on this or that, and it's like.
But you know what though? It's a lot. There's good and bad. The good is when you're on the plane, they got all the amenities. You can charge your phone. You got Wi-Fi. You can watch movies. So it's quicker mentally. The bad is everyone travels now.
I feel bad for the people that have to travel for their jobs.
Oh, I remember when I first started traveling heavy. I flew every week when I was in the States. I flew to Vegas every week from Florida because I had when I was working in the music industry, I had a situation out here, and every week I was flying back and forth. And there were very few people. I had Delta 360 back then, which is like the highest status, above Diamond. So I was always at the top of the list. But there'd only be like Diamond or 360, there'd only be like 2 or 3 on a plane. So whenever I booked my flight, a week out, I'd get an email, you've been upgraded. So I would just book the cheap tickets. Nowadays, that doesn't get you your status.
How's that cheap ticket thing working for you now?
Now, you don't want to buy the cheap ticket. There is no such thing as a cheap ticket anymore. But nowadays, you get on the plane, and there's literally times where I'll get on a plane and I'll be like 2 or 3 on the list because I have a high status. And I'll look and I'll be like, there's 180 seats in this plane. Like 90 people are frequent flyers. Like 90 people are on that list, meaning they have some type of status. And you're like, holy crap. It's just not.
The cost of doing business now. Yep. Travel.
Yep. And everybody, that and everyone goes, oh my God, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to fly around the world and I want to film all this, and you can make money doing it. Content. So everyone's trying to be like you. They're trying to be Jay Cutler, the content king. Why don't you have a Jay Cutler Travels channel? We'll get you traveling.
If I had someone to travel with that would just want to travel, you know what I mean? Find a camera guy. So when you guys want to apply out there, just
you are so
let me know. I'll
that would last
bring you along.
That'll last for about 15 minutes.
There's not much to see though. It's like go to the gym, sit in the hotel. It's like
it's so funny.
I don't like to venture out and do those things.
You know how funny it is when people are like, they'll talk to me, oh man, that was so great. You got to go somewhere. Tell me about it. I'm like, well, I saw a restaurant, I saw a hotel, I saw an Uber.
Did you even go to you didn't even go to the gym right here, did you?
What, in Africa?
No, here.
Since I got home?
LA.
We went to Gold's.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The one time I didn't go the other days.
That's right. That's right. We filmed a video there.
Yeah.
I totally forgot.
I got to see Trent O'Hearn. Yeah.
He's going to come on the podcast.
He'll never come on. I'm going to tell David.
Call him out.
I'm going to tell Dave to say Trent doesn't want to come do our podcast. He's always dodging us.
I liked the video you guys did, and he said, what do you take or something like that?
I said, I'm with the nattiest of all fake natties. Yeah. And I said, what was for breakfast? And he said, he eats Trend for breakfast. Yeah. What's wrong with him?
Yeah.
Hey, regardless if you think he is natty or not, I don't really care, first off, but he's been about the same size and same strength for the last 40 years. So
I didn't get to see him. I missed him that day.
You just dodged him, tell the truth.
No, he was hiding, I think.
Yeah. He was back in the corner doing cardio.
Okay.
But he was filming with some guys there. What else? Your next trip is New York.
Yep, the workshop for the Cutler Classic. So we have a new venue location for the Jay Cutler Classic in Boston. It's going to be at the Royale, and it's April 27th.
Is it nice or is it a dump?
It's very nice, actually.
Yep. So then maybe I should actually go this year?
It's going to be great. March 30th is the first one here, the Jay Cutler Desert, right? And then we have the Jay Cutler Classic in Boston on April 27th.
Okay.
So we have a new venue. It's in downtown Boston. It's very close to where you came at the John Hancock Hall.
For the Boston.
Yeah, so it's right there. We've stayed at the W. It's right next door to the W. So
is that where you're going to stay?
I'll probably stay next door, yeah. I mean, we're going to take a few days out there and kind of migrate to the North End, see my family, visit a couple of gyms out there, and we're just going to take a few days after the workshop event in New York. And then of course after that I have something February 24th in Virginia, in Lynchburg, for a gym out there. So I'll be doing that, and then we start our journeys forward in March, and UK and Columbus and
FIBO,
obviously my show,
Guy Sister Nino's gym opening. Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot coming on the horizon. We'll and then obviously as we get closer, maybe not next week or the week after, we'll do a
breakdown.
We'll do a breakdown of the Arnold once we know exactly who's settled.
How many weeks is it now away, you think?
What's today?
Today's
22nd. So
the next weekend's going to be the 27th. So it's
like 6.5 or 5.5.
Yeah, it's pretty getting down there.
No, I mean it. Look, there's a lot of divisions that are going to be really good. So there's a lot of big names in every division. For me, it'll be having Angelica compete again after she's had her 2 daughters. That's going to be kind of a highlight for me. I think someone put some bullshit comment in there. Of all these people competing, you're a bikini girl. Like, well, dude, she's like my little sister. I was there when she couldn't speak English when she first started. So her competing, it's a personal thing for me. No matter where she places, just being able to see her on stage again and have her 2 little girls in the crowd get to see their mom, even though they're young and they might not remember it, the fact that they will have gotten to see her, that's a big deal. So
well, let's get to a couple questions. I know you guys have a few questions that you guys have been shouting at. And listen, feel free to comment below, guys, on on different topics and whatnot. If you guys have, like I said, bucket plans for 2024, where you've been where you guys are from, where you ideally like to migrate to. Is Vegas on your list of possible, cities to actually move to and, settle in on? We're both. I'm from the East Coast. You're more Midwest, right?
Midwest. And, I spent half my life in Florida, half in Wisconsin.
And people ask me all the time, would I go back to Massachusetts? And it's like, I do miss it sometimes.
That's
I miss
a good
my
question.
family.
Yeah.
I miss my family. As I get a little older, the simplicity of life is a little better for me, and I'm in a very comfortable spot. So it's very hard for me to sit here and tell you guys exactly like what is on my plan list for 2024. You just asked me, and if you said, do you want to expand your business or what do you want to do? And it's like, for me, so is that the question actually? Or
no, there was a question in there. What are some of your goals for 2024?
Yeah, it's really, if I think about it, like it's just enjoy life. I always said when I quit bodybuilding, I lived more life between 40 and 45 than I did pretty much my whole life since I was 18, because I felt that bodybuilding, it was such a demanding career, even, I would say career. For me, it was very time consuming to be the best at what I did. And I felt like I didn't really step out of my comfort zone as much. So I felt like after 40, I stepped outside a little bit, still limited on what I like to do. And that's just preference. There's a lot of things that you may want to do that necessarily I would never do. Right. Yeah. And I don't venture out a lot. I just love the peace. I love the ability to wake up every day and kind of have things that I can or want to do. And the ideal thing for me is I'm not limited to doing, there's nothing I can't do. Yeah. So that's really the comfort. That's what I always dreamed about doing, is being able to work out, feel healthy, be healthy, and be able to live my life without a lot of restrictions. And I feel like I'm doing that on a daily basis. Having no schedule is sometimes the best thing. Yes. I feel like sometimes when my schedule is tight, when I make commitments on certain days, it's very difficult for me to function properly. Mm-hmm. I think everyone's like that. It's a stress factor, right? So stress-free lifestyle is ideal for what I'm trying to do.
Now, back to if you could move back there, how do you think your life would be different if you said one day, I'm gonna go back to where I'm from, I'm gonna build a house?
My life wouldn't be any different. It's not like I have a family of children or anything like that young children that I need to bring with me, and I have to think about schools and education and all that. So it's a little different for myself. But if I looked at my day-to-day processes and looked at the business aspect and the leisure aspect, the only thing that might be difficult if I move back to where I came from, it's an hour commute to the Logan Airport from where I lived, and that's with no traffic.
Yeah.
That would be less ideal than what I deal with now.
Or you could move halfway in between.
Of course. But I'm saying if I moved back, I don't know if I would want to be that far from my family.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, I get it. If
because
you're
then,
be home, you want to be
then
home.
you're busy, and it's like you know, I've run into that before, thinking I'm going to have more time, but it's like, you know, time creeps up on you. Like I said, days go by so fast. All of a sudden, you know, you wake up and you're like, I have all day, and then all of a sudden it's getting dark outside, like right now.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
Yeah. No, I think about those things. I think about those things a lot. But once you hit a certain point, you just want a simple life. You want no stress, and you just want to be able to do what you want when you want.
A lot of our viewers, listeners can relate to this. I think we're speaking that language, and they know exactly what we're talking about. You youngsters don't necessarily know, because I take 20 years ago, all I wanted to do was just make money and be successsul, and you know,
I'll hear people talk about that. Yo, man, I'm going to do this. I'm going to buy this, and I'm like, I don't want to buy shit.
Of course you want to buy stuff, but it's
certain things, but it's not a major goal.
Yeah.
It isn't. If at times there are certain things you still want, but at the end of the day, you're just like,
everyone's perspective is different. Like,
as you get older, it changes.
You're paying your bills.
Yep.
You're traveling for leisure.
Yep.
You're still stressed out with work. You know, you're building relationships. You're doing things that excite you.
Yep.
Okay. I won the Olympia and I wasn't super excited. I mean, all these things I've done in my life, like I felt like that was like a pinnacle point of my career, right? Doing the best in what you do, your business. So for me, like I might not have a lot of reaction, a lot of emotion, but inside I'm very content and I'm very happy with how I roll through things.
If you were going to leave Vegas, where are two places you would consider?
You know what? You're throwing a question at me I wouldn't even be able to answer, because I mean, California is one. I know you think I'm crazy for that, but I would like to be by the beach, you know.
You realize there's beaches all over the world, though.
No, I know, but it's just I think about someplace I was comfortable in.
Yeah.
And I know
Puerto
Rico,
you still have the memories.
Puerto Rico, I could do, but I would fear the natural disasters of hurricanes.
Well, the hurricanes are like 4 months out of the year.
Yeah. But you know, I would go to Puerto Rico for
tax purposes.
Yeah.
I still think about that.
Yeah, I always like Tennessee. I like North Carolina. Those are places that I would, if I spent some time there, maybe consider. Neutral weather.
Yeah.
But I just thrive on the Vegas to hear it. It's pouring rain.
Of course. The one day a year it rains.
Twice. It's going to rain 2 days in a row. It's so neutral with climate, except for, the extreme summer to now.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I'm okay with that. I
Extreme
love
heat.
wearing.
You don't
Yes,
have to
I
worry
love
about your
wearing.
house blowing
Yes,
over.
of course. Yeah.
Of course. No, I at times there's times where I do think about how simple my life was back in the Midwest, where the airport was 10 minutes away, and as you park, and you only pay $6 a day to park, instead of here it's like 30. And right when you walk through the front door, they see you. Hey, they already know. They have you checked in as you're walking through. And it's like, if your flight's at noon, you leave your house at 11. You literally leave your house at 11, park, walk through, get through security, and you still wait 10 minutes to board.
The only way is to I'm going to take 3 months and I'm going to go back and stay.
Yeah.
And see what your life is like waking up every day and getting into a routine there and compare.
It's the same for me.
But
traveling is easier.
Can you do it?
Yeah, of course.
No, I'm saying, do you want to do it? What, then do it. Pack up and go. That's what I'm saying.
I will in the next 3 to 5 years.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. It just, you, at this moment in time, financially, it doesn't make sense to go there. That's financially. No, I shouldn't say, it's much cheaper there. But once certain things happen and you're in the right position, you just want to live somewhere quiet. Like I still love Utah as well, because I love the mountains and the nature, and it's still, it gets cold, but not like disgusting cold where you're.
See, I never plan on leaving Vegas.
Yeah.
I've always planned to have some sort of property here.
Well, yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
So,
but you could spend part-time somewhere else.
Yeah, but I don't have that on my list, right? California might be the
Dubai?
only place. No, I don't. No, it's
I could do Asia
too
again.
far,
I could do Asia again.
To go from Dubai back to the States for any kind of business or any kind of events. It's just too far.
Sometimes it's good to be far away. Then people leave you alone.
No, it's as you get older, it's.
I could for sure move to the Philippines. For sure. For Philippines is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. That's one of the most beautiful countries I've ever been to. And it just, it's inexpensive to live there, and it's depending on where you're at, safe, clean, food's great, people are great.
My dream was to go to California, and I did it, and then I migrated to Vegas, and I feel it's kind of the same, and I've been fortunate to be able to fulfill that wish, Yeah.
One of the other questions is, will you be at the Arnold UK?
Yeah, we're heading there. When is the date? This mid-March, right?
It's the 2 weeks after the Arnold. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be doing the photo ops there also.
You'll be doing
with Ronnie Coleman.
And you and Ronnie will be doing them, and then I'm sure the week of we'll have different announcements.
We went last year, and I thought it was a great event. I was able to actually.
Busy.
That was the first time I don't think I even watched the whole Arnold U.S. show. I think we watched that whole contest.
Yes, from start to finish.
Andrew won that show, and, I'm excited because, this year has a lot of hype. I mean, to have a Mr. Olympia former, competing, especially, he'll definitely be in UK.
Yeah. Hottie.
Yeah. I think it's pretty exciting. Plus to see, Samson come back after, winning the U.S. version, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the only other question was we were talking about goals for 2024. We've been talking about that throughout. So what we'll do is the next podcast, when we post this one up, write a bunch of questions.
Yeah, we're going to try to get to like two or three questions every time. And let's start answering those questions. So we do get a lot of interaction on there. I want to thank you guys for the continuous support with it. Like I said, 2024, we plan on just continuing the trend and doing these podcasts. And we do have our bucket list of guests. That's another thing on our list for 2024.
This year we'll definitely get 1, 2.
What's nice is the Olympia's coming, so it's going to be a little easier, like having it here and not in Florida.
Yeah. Just hopefully people come in before it gets too nutty. And we can get the door just circling of getting the different guys on here for the podcast. So we'll get a good amount. So we haven't done it yet, but we do have a travel bag set up. I mean, we brought the podcast over. We just haven't used it yet, but now we'll bring it to a couple places, and we'll probably try to get a couple different set downs and with some wireless mics and whatnot, and we'll do our best to seek the approval and make sure our podcast. Yeah,
it's just I have this whole thing with I have to kind of know the background of some people and be interested in it, right? I mean, that's a really hard point of having guests on and knowing, having to research and plan it accordingly. And that's the whole thing, is locking it down when we're here and not traveling. And I think that's the most difficult part is, we like to be on the ground and know that we're going to be there, not pulled. But we kind of have a schedule for the halfway through the year. So, hopefully we'll get something in the works. I want to appreciate that. So make sure you guys comment below. Make sure you guys, share this, of course, like it, and, let's hear what you have to say about some of the topics we discussed on here. So we'll see you at the next episode.